First time I ran into Bob was at a quarterly meeting, and I remember everybody has their 15 minutes to go up there and speak, and there's a bunch of different speakers. And I remember sitting there listening and going, this guy knows what he's talking about. I need to kind of put him on my list to catch up with Bob and find out a little bit more about him. That was 20 years ago, and I was much smaller then, and Bob had more hair. I'm
not trying to say that my words got him hired, but I think they helped.
Bob's always looking down the road, finding, no pun intended, to solve the problems before they become real problems.
There's hardly 5 good words that I can say about Bob, so I'm really struggling with this because he's hard to like. He hardly ever does anything normal, but
articulate, sharp, well-dressed, really funny accent.
He's also very funny. He has this knack of bringing humor into a stressful situation at just the right time to sort of move a gridlock, move it along. So he's very good at that.
He's got a couple mannerisms. It's just a look. He gets over his glasses is about it. Just a little peer, and he's thinking, and something's going to come out. Or he thinks he looks at you like you're half crazy a little bit, but what did you say?
I took him elk hunting with me in Colorado. What I particularly enjoyed about it was I would give him choices. Bob, let's do this, or do you want to do that? He said, look, I'm in charge all the time. Says, it's your turn. He said, somebody else is going to make the decisions on this trip.
Conventions are always fun. The contractor conventions, my wife Betty Ann and family got to go to a number of them when I worked for DOT, and the Friday night theme party was always a highlight for us.
I'm glad you asked me that question because I just happen to have some pictures of Bob's costume. Here's Bob with Ben Watts.
He was dressed up on one of the Friday nights as something crazy, as always.
He kind of comes out of his shell and he dresses from A to Z. And you never know what you're going to see him in, and sometimes you have to look behind the mask to see who's there.
Tacky Tourist was one of our favorites with Bob. He looked like a tacky tourist, there's no doubt about it.
I think Bobby had the inner tube around him, and the
hat with all the stuff in it.
Yeah, and the goggles, and he was just, it was always a step above.
I'm not sure what that is, but it looks like they're going to Hawaii.
When he was dressed up as a flamingo, a pink flamingo, he stood out. There was nobody that came anywhere near looking that special that night.
This is a good one. Couple of gorillas. I'm not sure what that one was for, but there we are, a couple of gorillas.
I think the ones that me and my wife liked the best were the motorcycles. I think we like dressing up like wild motorcycle gangs and dreaming of riding across the country like that, like drunks or something.
Cell phones, 2 cell phones.
I kind of remember one of Beverly's more than Bob's when she was afoot.
The one costume that I'll always remember is he came, it was the year we were doing T, letter T, and he came as a toe. I just thought that was funny.
This is probably my favorite. Thing 1 and Thing 2. And everybody that was at this one will remember this one. But notice that Beverly is Thing 1 and Bob is Thing 2. Way to go, Beverly.
I think a lot of people are hesitant to wear costumes to parties, myself included. And I think the costume, the themes that we've had over the years probably wouldn't have been as successful if it weren't for the leader of the organization wearing those crazy costumes, because it makes it seem like A, you're supposed to do it, and B, it's okay to act a little silly once in a while.
One, Damn It Jay is one that is used a lot,
This time you're right, Jimmy. I love to hear that.
You could always count on Bob to say, would love to have you there, which means, please bring a check.
Bob always used to say, this will be the last time that I'll ask anyone for money this year. And that would always be in December.
He'd be a broke bulldozer. because he wouldn't be worth a damn pushing stuff around, pushing people around. So he'd be a broke bulldozer. That's the first thing coming to my mind.
Certainly not a bulldozer, because you got a hell of a lot more finesse than that.
The way people move earth these days is with a pull pan and a big tractor. Now in my mind, Bobby is the pull pan that's hooked to the tractor. Now the pull pan will grade out the road, and I kind of see that as Bobby smoothing things out with the DOT, and then the payload is the dirt, and I kind of relate that to money, because Bobby's always asking for money. This pull pan has no engine, no power, but it's hooked to the tractor. Now the tractor is Beverly, better looking, more polished, pulling Bobby around just like, you know, she's done all her life. And without the tractor, the pull pan is just kind of dead in the water.
Beverly's the fun person. Bob is sometimes too serious, but Beverly's always got a smile on her face.
We had no idea how involved Beverly would be and how important she would be.
I've always considered her the first lady of FTBA.
It ended up being a package deal. I don't know if Beverly ever signed up for that, but it definitely was a package deal and an important part of the fiber that made FTBA.
He's got such good taste that several years ago I got him to judge the Miss Tampa pageant, which is a preliminary to Miss Florida and the Miss America. I mean, you know, he's got a good looking wife, so everybody likes to be around pretty women.
I know Bob depended on Miss Beverly tremendously, especially at convention time, and it was always, she was always around, and I'll never forget, we were needing some flowers one time, and Miss Beverly went out and cut the flowers from the hotel that we were staying at. And I'm not so sure she didn't maybe get scolded a little bit, but it turned out very nice.
That's probably why they paid Bob good as they did, because of her working so hard to help Bob.
Bob was trying to decide when he was going to retire, how long he was going to work, and obviously she was a big part in his decision making.
I think losing Beverly will be a bigger loss than losing Bob, but we really don't want to say that too loud since it's his retirement.
When I was chairman, we started doing the FTBA theme party. We did FTBA, and Beverly joked FTBA and then R for retirement. And that's been 15 years ago.
Bob, you weren't supposed to retire before I did.
If it wasn't for Bob at the end, I probably would have left a lot of these meetings early. So for that, he's kept me around to listen to his 15-minute piece at the end. You might want to cut some of that, don't.
In the physical shape, he's about the same. He was always lean and trim, but he certainly had more hair in those days.
Bob and I haven't changed any. We're the same person there is today as we were yesterday. Our eyesights are good. We don't need glasses. We don't need lights on our glasses. Bob, you're looking better than ever. Keep that swing going, buddy. Making pars and birdies all the way down the roadway of life.